Hello, everyone. Welcome to today's WellSense class. I am very excited to host today's class in a multilingual capacity. So, for those of you who are listening in Spanish, welcome. If you have any questions, please put them in the chat, or you can ask the interpreter, and she will come into the room with me to ask them.
Mm.
We are very excited to have you all here with us today. We are making a delicious grill recipe, a chimichurri rockfish over grilled vegetables. I will put the recipe in the chat.
Okay.
I will ask that you keep yourself muted if you don't have a question to help reduce the background noise. One moment, please, as I answer a question in the chat before we get started. All right, let's go ahead and get started with today's recipe. We are going to start off by preparing our chimichurri sauce. If at any point you have a hard time hearing me, please let me know. Chimichurri is a delicious sauce found in many cultures and very often found in Argentina barbecue. It is comprised of cilantro, parsley, oil, herbs, and red wine vinegar. I do have a food processor with me that we are going to add all the ingredients to in order to make the chimichurri sauce. I will tell you the sauce gets better the longer it's able to sit and marinate together. So this sauce will be really delicious the next day. Also, reminder for those of you in the class, we do record our WellSense classes. So if that's something you're uncomfortable having your voice recorded, you are welcome to put any questions or comments in the chat. I am going to place the whole cilantro and whole parsley plant right in the blender with the stems included. I am twisting them so that they fit better. I have a smaller blender so it looks more filled. If you do not have a blender, you are welcome to use a food processor, a blender, or you can finely dice and chop all your ingredients and combine it with oil. I am going to grab the topper for this and just blend this on the inside since I don't have any power out here on the patio. So bear with me one moment. I'm going to mute myself so it's not very loud. All right. After blended, it will look something like this. If you are using a blender, it might be a little more smooth versus a food processor, you might get more of a chunky result. If you prefer it to be a little more runny, I would add a bit of water or a bit more oil. I like this texture. I think it works really well for my preference of sauce. Now we are waiting for our grill to preheat. Sometimes grills get too hot too quickly, so I'm going to keep the lid up. We're going to set our sauce to the side, and we are going to get our fish ready. I will put the recipe in the chat again in case anyone has any questions about I'm sorry, I just read the question in the chat. I did not substitute cilantro for oregano. If I said oregano, I am so sorry. I meant cilantro. I was trying to multitask. Sometimes it's difficult for me to answer chat questions, so my apologies. We did use, my goodness, let me back up. We had parsley and oregano. I needed to look at what the recipe said versus what the chat says. That is what I meant. I am very sorry. Perfect. Okay. Thank you all for catching that. To get our fish ready, we are going to sprinkle a little bit of paprika. With a little bit of olive oil. I was unable to find rockfish at my local market, so the fishmonger recommended some snapper. It is another white fish that is really neutral and mild in taste and pairs well with a more zesty, bright sauce like chimichurri. Now my fish is ready to go on the grill, but we're not quite there yet. We need to get our veggies prepped. We are going to cut up some zucchini and summer squash. Zucchini is a type of squash. It is just a particular name for a green squash. We also have some mushrooms here. I chose a size that doesn't necessarily need to be diced. They can go right into my grill plate I have on the back here, and I'm going to add them now. These sometimes need to cook a bit longer in order to get them to have that delicious umami flavor. We also have a red onion here and a red bell pepper. I'm going to shut the grill to allow the temperature to get back up to around 400. The key to this recipe is to allow your veggies to cook at a higher heat so that way they are softened, but they also get some charring, which will reflect a really delicious flavor. Softer vegetables like zucchini and peppers are great for a recipe like this. I am going to cut my zucchini at an angle so it's thin enough to cook properly, but it is not so thin it falls through the grill plates. Again, turning to the side and cutting at an angle, about 1/2 inch thick. I'm going to put the zucchini and squash right into the grill plate. If you do not have a grill plate, you can put your zucchini right on the grill. But because I have a smaller grill and I have a grill plate, I'm going to use it. If you have a smaller grill and want to still put your vegetables together like that, you could use some tin foil and place it right on the grill. And I will move this closer to show you all what this grill plate looks like. I'm going to close the grill so it gets to temp and just check the chat one more time. All right, no questions so far. Let's keep cutting our veggies. I'm going to cut my red onion into thicker slices and then cut them in half down the middle. Into the grill plate it goes. I do see a question in the chat of what does chimichurri taste like? It is a vibrant mix of fresh herbs, garlic, and it's a little tangy, sometimes has a spicy kick from the red chili flakes, and that tang comes through the vinegar.
Paige, there's another question. It says, can we put the vegetables into a grill bag?
Yes. Thank you, Tusi. Yes, you can. Whatever way that you like to grill your vegetables, since all grills are different, you definitely can do. I used to not have a grill plate until recently, so I would make a little basket out of tin foil, or I would leave my vegetables whole and I would grill them like this so they didn't fall through the grill plates, and I would cut them up afterwards. If you like a herby vinaigrette, something with fresh herbs and on a really nice salad, I think you will enjoy chimichurri. I had not had chimichurri until recently, and I love vinaigrettes on salads, and it is really delicious on grilled vegetables and grilled meats. As I mentioned before, chimichurri is a staple of Argentina barbecues, also known as asados. There is some debate where the name came from. Some theories think it links to the name Jimmy Curry, an Englishman who was in Argentina, or some theories believe that the name came from a Spanish adaptation of the phrase, give me curry. I have a rough chop here of my pepper, and I'm going to add those to the grill now. Bring this around a bit. Perfect. Stirring them up a bit. All right. I'm going to take a peek at the chat to see if anyone has any questions. I will leave our snapper here until our vegetables cook for about 5 minutes or so. All right. Anyone have any questions? Okay. No questions. Let's keep rolling. Another really delicious thing to serve with chimichurri is bread. In a lot of cultures, you may dip bread in a mixture of oil, vinegars, herbs, and spices. But I like to get fresh bread from my local market and actually put it on the grill and allow it to toast the bread and dip it in the leftover chimichurri. So let's get some bread ready for that. I have some leftover crusty bread. That I am going to cut down the middle for the grill. I'm going to place that on the grill now. Our vegetables are looking really nice and vibrant. Has anyone ever cooked with a grill before? Let me know in the chat. Or let me know if this is your first time seeing someone use a grill. All right, so we do have some folks that have used a grill before, and I am sure some folks are new to it as well. Okay, so grilling fish is new for some folks. You can tell my bread is getting a little older how dry out it is. Going to check on my bread. That looks really lovely. I don't frequently grill bread, but it's the same kind of concept as, say, you are toasting your bread. I'm going to pull out some of my zucchini to show you all how you can do it on that as well. This looks really good. Beautiful. All right. Let's get our grill more in line for when we put our fish on. Perfect. The grill is at around 420 degrees. Your grill will heat up rather quickly, but a way to help keep the temperature down is to frequently open the lid. That is the beauty of grilling, is that it will get these grill marks because of how high the temperature can get. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and add the snapper to the grill now. This snapper does have skin on the back. So we are going to grill with the skin side down, and this will act as a protective coating. The grill now went down to about 300 degrees. I'm going to keep the lid on. I'm going to go wash my hands since I touched raw fish. And I'm going to bring back a clean plate. When you work with taking your fish off the grill, you want to make sure you use a utensil that's not touching the vegetables so we do not cross-contaminate. I will be right back.
Ok, gracias.
Okay. While we wait for our vegetables to finish cooking, I think now is a great time to taste test our chimichurri with our bread. Let's go with this piece. Here's a close-up of this beautiful color. Really delicious. My first thought is it's pretty tangy. Has a hint of spice, but really bright and flavorful. See how the zucchini can look a bit different if you put it on the actual grill and get some grill marks? I'm going to stir around our veggies in our veggie basket. If you're new to cooking fish, a really good way to visually know if your fish is being cooked is to see it go from that translucent, lightly pink color to more of a bright white color. It will also begin to flake when it is done cooking. We're going to let the grill get back up to around 450. Here's a close-up again. You can see it's a little chunky, but enough that it can be spread. Oop, there we are. You can really use any type of fish for this recipe, but I think chimichurri would really complement a neutral white fish like snapper, cod, halibut. But if we're thinking about grilling, we want it to be something firm and preferably with skin so it doesn't fall apart. Grilling is a cooking method that requires a lot of opening, closing, and stirring, and a lot of patience. My vegetables are looking really good. I can tell they are getting soft. I will take them off the grill in about 3 minutes so they don't get too soft. I still want them to have that crunch to them, but looking for that browning from the grill, from the heat. That means it has good flavor. The grill is back up to 500 degrees. We're going to open it again. I'm going to shift the fish around so that way it's hitting different parts of the grill where different heat sources and amounts are coming out. I'm going to start removing some of the vegetables from my grill plate. Looking beautiful. Back down we go. What do we think?
Looks yummy.
Very, very colorful. You can test it with a fork. Ooh. Be careful if you use a metal bowl, it will be hot. Very fork tender. This will go to the side. I'd say our fish will be ready in just a few minutes.
Paige, when cooking on a grill, how do you prevent cross-contamination when you're doing cooking like this, obviously you have the grill pan, but if you didn't have the grill pan and people are putting multiple things on there.
Yeah, great question. So in order to minimize cross-contamination, you want to make sure you keep your cooking tools separate.
No, es que no te contesté ahorita porque me estaba duchando, ya estoy en la casa. Pero, qué vas a hacer ahorita? Ah, es que estoy en una...
Okay, I wasn't sure if we had a question there. I was waiting, but I think we don't. All right. So if you want to minimize your cross-contamination, you want to make sure you're using separate tools and separate plates. So when we had my fish out, we made sure to put the fish down and use a spatula for the fish and kept the tongs for the vegetables. We also, if I didn't have the grill plate, would want to make sure we separate things so that they aren't touching. You can also cook one thing and then the other. And I will tell you, since these grill plates get so hot, if you cook your fish, let the grill stay hot, then add your vegetables. I'm not as worried about cross-contamination because it's such a high heat that we are going to kill any potential bacteria that was left on the grill. If you're going to cook a whole fillet of fish, I do recommend using a spatula. You can see the skin. Where are we at? There we are. The skin came off the bottom, but acted as a protective layer to keep the fish intact. You can also cook fish on a cedar plank on the grill as well. That'll help keep it together. So now we have our finished product and we need to make a plate. Hang tight while I assemble us a finished plate. All right, we have some fish and veggies. Now we need to top with our delicious chimichurri. You can also serve with some crusty bread. What do we think? Looks really bright and fresh. I love chimichurri's color. I think it really makes me excited for the warmer weather.
Looks really good.
Thank you.
Looks really yummy. I think what you did, I think it was great. I think you left the fish for last and you cook everything first. And I think that's the reason it doesn't do any cross contamination. I think you did a great job.
Well, thank you. Thank you very much. I think now we need to do our taste test. And I'm sorry, I'm all over the place here, making sure I'm in the right spot. There we go. Okay, now let's do our final taste test. We need a little bit of fish. You can see how my fish is just flaking apart here. That's a sign that our fish is done. Let's get chimichurri with our fish, then we'll do our vegetables with chimichurri. Really perfect. I love that we just seasoned with some paprika and oil, and we're really leaning on the acidity from the chimichurri. So flavorful. Now let's do some veggies. Really, really yummy. My mushroom was soft. My bell pepper was a little crunchy, but still full of flavor. And the chimichurri was just perfect to brighten it up. The onions are a little crunchy as well, but soft enough that it's enjoyable. And obviously we have our bread here. But I'm going to save the rest of this to enjoy after dinner. Does anyone have any other questions, thoughts, comments?
So is this sauce like a general sauce for all types of foods? Because you're eating it with fish. Looks like you eat it with just one type of veggies. Looks like you can eat it on bread. Like,
Yes, you can use chimichurri for any meats, seafood, any vegetables, bread. It is a really nice, bright, zesty sauce, and it's full of antioxidants and heart-healthy fats from the olive oil. You're getting antioxidants from the fresh herbs. It's a really nice, bright sauce. You could even, if you're a pesto fan, throw it over some pasta. I have not done that yet, but once you try it and you really enjoy it, you'll find other ways to eat it. But yes. We have a suggestion from someone. They do 2 smaller pieces of fish rather than a large one. It might be easier to move on the grill. I agree. And yes, I think it would be delicious on rice. I have had it with a side of rice, and it's been on the rice, and it's delicious. Any other questions? Okay. Well, I just want to thank you all so much for coming to tonight's WellSense class, which we were lucky enough to have great weather to host it outside. Tonight's class, again, was sponsored by WellSense, so stay tuned for our next class, which will be posted on their social medias, and this recording will be accessible as well. I am going to stop the recording now in case anyone has any questions that they'd like to be off the recording.